So let's begin the conversation this morning. So today, we're trying to understand the A to Z of building standards and regulations in Lagos, the Lagos State Building Control Mandate. And joining me right now to shed light on this is Engineer Abiola Kosegbe, General Manager, Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASBCA. Nice to have you in the building. Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right. Engineer Kosegbe, let's begin our chat this morning by reminding our listeners of the mandate that was given to LASBCA. What is the mandate given to your office?
So the Lagos State Building Control Agency is in charge of building control in all its ramifications. We enforce building control regulations. That includes ensuring that people are building to the right standards and codes, ensuring that people are using the right professionals, and especially using the right materials for construction. So we aim to ensure that developers develop or construct their buildings to the using the right design, and ensure that they maintain their properties. We make sure that people maintain high standards in order to ensure the safety of people that occupy the buildings.
And how different is what you do to that of the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, for instance?
No, the mandate is quite different. As the name implies, the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority is in charge of ensuring that any use of space, that is spatial use of land, is adhered to. So every area in Lagos State is zoned, and you have specific heights that you can build to. You have specific setbacks that you need to maintain. And so the agency issues permit based on this standards.
Right. So you are solely concerned with building and the regulations that concerns building.
Exactly. So we take it from where the agencies are intertwined, because when people submit their drawings, our agency actually will scope the will scan or just screen the drawings to ensure that
they
exactly. And then when you get your permits, you are expected to proceed to the Lagos State Building Control Agency, and then take it from there.
Right. All right. So when you juggle things around, Engineer Kosegbe, to gauge the consciousness level of Lagosians as it relates to conforming to building regulations, what does it look like in terms of assessment?
Well, in terms of assessments, I discovered that we have various types of developers. We have the developers that know that they need to apply for the permit. They apply for the permit and they approach the Lagos State Building Control Agency for conformity. We have the developers that will apply to the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority. They will actually get the permit, but then they don't bother to get to the Building Control Agency before proceeding with their construction. We have the ones that will commence the process, and they feel that once they have commenced that process, it is authority to commence construction. And then we have those that don't even bother to do anything. They just get on their property, their land, and commence construction.
So within all of this, I mean, within these different groups, is it to say that they're ignorant of the mandate, or perhaps they're not very much in tandem with the regulations that concerns building in Lagos?
Well, you would discover that some developers, they are aware, but they just feel that they can get away with anything. But some are not aware. However, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It states clearly on, we have done a lot of publicity, and on our website and everything, it states clearly that before you commence any construction, you require authorization to commence construction from the Lagos State Building Control Agency. This is just so that you are in line with the Lagos State building regulations.
All right. So it's been quite a while, really. We heard about any building collapse. Once upon a time, eventually every week you would have heard of one building or the other coming down. But for some time now, we've not really had that, Engineer Kosegbe. So what's really responsible for this?
I think we have increased our monitoring capacity. We recently commenced the use of drones for surveillance. And we have just tried to jig things around a little bit just to ensure that we're everywhere, really. It's impossible to be everywhere.
At the same time.
Exactly. And I always say that even in developed countries, the police are not everywhere.
Right.
But what really makes things work is the participation of the citizens in ensuring enforcement and compliance. And because of that, we have increased our social media presence.
Okay.
We have increased, the telephone numbers. We are trying to make sure that the public are aware of exactly what they need to do just to prevent building collapse.
Right.
Because if we are able to catch the construction at inception, then we are able to make sure that people are actually doing the right things and people are not cutting corners.
Right.
We are approaching the rainy season now, and honestly speaking, this is the time that we need to be even more careful, and we would always urge the public anywhere, regardless of whether you think that the construction is legal or the construction is okay. We urge the public always to contact us on social media or by phone, just to make sure that with the person developing next to you is doing the right thing.
All right, so we'll still get to that in terms of those that are, doing things illegally, or perhaps if there's a whistle-blowing kind of platform. But let's still dwell a bit more on this issue of building collapse. So, for point of emphasis and for expansive discourse, really, what will really make a building to come down? What are the causes of building collapse?
So, well, the most obvious that we would say would be that perhaps you are not engaging the right professionals. Okay. So you want to build your property and you decide that your bricklayer is going to be the one supervising your project. You decide that your welder is going to be the assistant supervisor. There are people that are trained for this exercise. You have structural engineers, you have civil engineers, you have builders, you have architects. These people are trained. It's like you go to the hospital and you ask or you don't even go to the hospital. You are at home, you're sick, and then your brother is the one treating you. It's almost like that. You know, that's a recipe for disaster.
Definitely.
So the recipe for disaster in building construction is not engaging the right professionals, not utilizing the right materials, and definitely just not following standards and codes. Aside from that, we also have the issue of old buildings,
which have perhaps outlived their
shelf life.
Or perhaps they've expired, as the case may be.
Yeah, because actually buildings do expire. However, we have identified several properties that are distressed, and we have notified the owners that you need to take the right steps. In the next month or so, we are going to engage in the exercise of the removal of identified distressed
So is it
buildings.
to say that you guys have done an audit for buildings in Lagos?
We have done an audit. However, it's a continuous exercise. The audit is always ongoing, because you may discover today that there's a distressed building today. Tomorrow, if the owner actually takes the right steps to re-engineer that property, there's hope.
So it can be remedied?
Some of them, not all. Some of them can be remedied, yeah.
So, I mean, just shed some light for us this morning. So if I build a building, or perhaps I put up a building or a structure, as the case may be, how long is it supposed to last? Can we have a building that lasts for like 100 years?
Well, yeah, buildings are designed, I think, 60, 70 years. That's the standard.
That's supposed to be the shelf life.
Yes. However, with
modification,
proper maintenance, and ensuring that you're always looking after, because just like human beings, you need to look after your property. You know that a property that is abandoned, for example, that people are not living in, somehow, Yorubas have some sayings.
Yes.
So I don't want to use
Right.
but if you're not living in a property, it's means that you're not really maintaining it.
Right.
And what happens is that the deterioration progresses faster. Yeah.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning, we're trying to understand the A to Z of building standards and regulations. And taking us to the classroom this morning is the General Manager for the Lagos State Building Control Agency, in the person of Engineer Abiola Kosegbe. All right, very, very shortly, I'll also allow you to join the conversation. But, madam, let's dwell on this much more. So if I want to build, and let's do some kind of enlightenment right now. If I want to build, and I just want to start things all afresh, or perhaps I want to build, what am I supposed to do? What are the first steps that I should take that will be in tandem with the regulations?
Thank you. The first steps, obviously, is ensuring that your land title, your land documents are they're correct. You've done your C of O or whatever. Title documents to your property is of utmost importance.
Okay. And that I can get from where? Is that from the field?
That is Lands
Bureau.
Lands Bureau.
Okay.
From there, you proceed to the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority. The Physical Planning Permit Authority is a sister agency in charge of issuance of the permits. You submit your drawings, architectural, structural, mechanical, and electrical drawings. These drawings must be drawn by professionals, because they must be duly stamped by the registered professional. You submit their other requirements. The agency will visit your site. They will give you an assessment. You make your payments. They aim to issue your permit within 28 days. That is the aim.
Okay.
You can also, with the issue of COVID right now, you can also go online. If you go to the EPP platform, on the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit, on the Ministry of Physical Planning. Yes, website, you can also upload your documents there, and we will ensure that we process, because LASBCA is also involved, because we have to, part of what we do is ensuring that your conception is in line with your construction.
Okay.
So we are involved when you submit your drawings to make sure that we are aware that you are intending to commence construction.
So if I have a piece of land and can I build anything on that land?
Like I said earlier, you can't build anything.
Okay.
In Lagos State, we have the whole of Lagos State is zoned. Particular areas have limits to how high your building can go. Exactly. And depending on the size of your land, you cannot build. There's population density that they look at. There's space of maneuvering your vehicles. There's so many things that you look at. Everything is on the website.
All right. So if I have a piece of land in a place like Agege, for instance, or a place like Yanokwaja, can I do a high rise? Like 7 floors, 10 floors? Well,
I am not in a position to say that, because I cannot hold brief for LASBCA.
Okay.
However, I know that if you approach LASBCA, particular areas have specific heights you can build to, and LASBCA will be able to advise you as to that.
All right. So, Engineer Kosegbe, building is not a one-day affair. Neither is it a fun fair or a tea party, as the case may be. So, we know that people are always stranded when it comes to funding in terms of building. So I commence the building, and perhaps I do not have the funds to complete it, and then I have to come back to it. Do I still need to consult LASBCA?
Of course you do. if you have a development permit that says you should build 3 floors and you commence your construction, you have informed us that you're starting, we're with you at setting out, we're with you at foundation, we've done first floor, and then you decide that, well, because you're at every stage, there needs to be stage inspection and certification. So stage inspection, you need every stage of your construction, you need to notify us. Assuming at first floor you decide to stop and you don't want to continue, that means you are not going to notify us that you want to cast your next floor. So you have stopped, we're monitoring. Immediately you want to start again, you need to notify us because it's the next stage.
Okay.
However, depending on how long you've left your property standing,
right,
there will be certain things that you will need to do, which the agency, Lagos State Building Control Agency, will inform you of. If you leave your property standing, either occupied or unoccupied, there are certain things that we would be requesting from you.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. I think it's just about time for us to expand and expand the dialogue much beyond the studio to also have your input as well. Perhaps you have 1 or 2 questions for Engineer Abiola Kosegbe, who is the General Manager for the Lagos State Building Control Agency. You can feel free to connect with us. But those of you who are navigating through the Agege corridor, earlier on we told you about the beams that are being launched for the bridge at Penn Cinema, and the monitors there have been advising that you make use of alternate routes, especially if you're coming in from Charity. Most of you are being diverted through Okwoba, and from there you will be able to connect with Orile Road to burst out at Nitel, and then you can continue on your journey. So that's the travel advice for those of you that are navigating through that corridor. All right, so the inner part of the corridor as well, we told you earlier on that there was an impediment precisely at Otaono, so it's really affecting movement within that corridor. Mile 12, also very busy, and that's because of marketing activities, plus Koshofe, which we still have the bad portion of road there. It's really slowing down things for those of you that are navigating through that corridor. But let's have your input right now. Let's talk about building. If you have any questions for my guest, or perhaps some concerns, or you want to react to some of the things that we've been discussing over, feel free to join us. And the numbers remains the same, 0809-912-0777. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, what's your name?
My name is Emmanuel Oluwaseun.
Emmanuel Oluwaseun. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lagos, from the Ikorodu side.
Ikorodu. All right. So, Emmanuel, what's your concern?
Yeah, just some accident that happened 5 minutes ago. There's one BRC bus that hit one commercial bus. And the BRC is not even way to share people that he just hit and run. That's why I've been calling before. The evening peak, that's why I call back now.
You've been calling before that there's an accident. Where did it happen?
Before Ajegule Bridge.
Okay.
Also, we are coming towards the, what you call it, OD.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. 0809-912-0777. That's the numbers that you can connect with us. We're talking building this morning. If you have any questions that relate to that, feel free to join the conversation. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume of that radio.
Okay. My name is Aino.
I know. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kosegbe.
Ikotum. All right. So what's your question?
Yes, I want to ask, is there any permit for agricultural building?
Agricultural building?
Yes. If you want to build, for maybe fish pond on the land, on the land, want to build something for agriculture, fence for pigs or whatever. Is there any permit to say for that?
All right. Great question. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So, madam, let's just answer that one right away. Do you guys issue that kind of permit too?
LASBCA issues permit for anything you want to do on your property. You need to approach the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority and ensure, even if it's just your fence, it's a building on your small building for your agric land, you definitely need to apply to LASBCA for permits.
All right. So that answers your question. Thank you so much for that. 0809-912-0777. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. What's your name?
My name is Tunde. I'm calling from Surulere.
Tunde from Surulere.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
I really want to ask about the building plan. Because it seems like my area I stay, there are some buildings that build out like developers, and there's no parking space. Like the building have like eight flats. No parking space for the registered people that is staying in the compound. Like the park. What's the plan for that? And there's a new building on my street, I'm presently now.
Okay.
With house, no parking space.
No parking space.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to know what's the building plan? Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure she'll respond. So he's concerned really about people that build indiscriminately in a particular facility, no car park and all of that. Well, let's take this call. Hello. Good morning. All right. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Otumba. Another Victor Sikantazi. Long time.
Otumba, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Actually, I just want to give you the report from First Bridge, so Ikeja. It's on the high side. And an Okada rider, they are flying on that road and they won't expect to carry 2 people on that road.
Where is that?
From Yanopaja.
Okay, that's Lagos Abiola Expressway.
Yes, from Yanopaja towards Cement, heading towards Ikeja Long.
Okay. So it's very, very slow there, and you've seen Okadas still plying that route. Hello, Otumba. All right, thank you so much. But that's for the security operatives. I hope the law enforcement agents can put a halt to that, because Okada is not supposed to be plying the roads at this time. Hello there, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Victor Terry.
Good morning, ma.
I just love listening to your program.
Thank you so much, ma.
This is Grandma Layinka.
Grandma Layinka, it's nice to hear from you.
I agree.
Yes, ma.
Thank you. And how's the family?
Very good, very good.
I salute the guests. Madam, good morning, ma.
Good morning, ma.
Please, I want to know, yes, ma. I want to know, is it right for landlords to be using fence as wall for a room or for a flat? I hope you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
A fence, then they will use that fence to build a flat, like 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom. I think it is dangerous. I think it is not allowed in planning. Then the last caller was talking about parking. Is it that when they give the right to build, the builders now go against the law of the land where there is no parking? They will now use the road as their parking lot, the government road as the parking for the tenant. Why wouldn't Lagos State government do something about it?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Particularly about that fence.
That fence. All right,
Yes,
ma. Well done. Thank you for your concern, madam.
Yes.
Okay, that's Grandma Lahika, always making her way through on some occasions like this. All right, so mother, let's answer some of these questions before we take the next set.
So, Grandma Layinka talked about building on fence wall. It is definitely not permitted to build on fence wall, to use it as a wall for a one-bedroom apartment. What, for example, your gatehouse is allowed, but so long as it is actually on your drawing.
Okay.
However, parking spaces, there are usually when they apply for their permits,
right,
they would put in their drawing that there's parking space.
Okay.
Right? And then when they are constructing also, when you cast in and everything, the space is there. And then along the line, when they've done everything, they will convert that space to
something else.
Something else.
Room or something.
Yes, there are several properties like that we have discovered.
Okay, and when you get there, what do?
We ask them to remove whatever it is they've put there and create the parking space back We are going to commence on post-construction audit because that is part of our mandate.
Right.
And we're going to also do it in conjunction with LASBCA, where we're actually just developing the strategy for that.
All right.
And we're going to just take it area by area and just ensure that people have built to their drawing, ensure that they have, they are maintaining the property. So we're going to commence on that.
Right.
One other thing that I discovered along the line is developers. The developers are people that maybe they will take a lease from the owner, maybe 20-year lease. They want to use it for something. I will always urge the developers to do due diligence, and that is, if you want to take a property from an owner, ensure that that owner already has a building permit. Because if he doesn't have a building permit, that's going to stall your process.
Right.
Because then you have to apply for your building permit.
And someone is asking this morning, the processes that are involved in all of this, how long does it take for me to get his permits and then to also get LASBCA to approve whatever I have put up?
Well, like I said, the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority aims to issue you your permit within 28 days. However, that 28 days starts from when you have actually submitted all your necessary documents that are required for you to process. So, assuming you submit your drawings and you say you submit and you are missing, say, your title documents, or you are missing your structural indemnity from your engineer or something.
So that could delay the plan.
Yeah, that could delay the plan.
Okay.
So for LASBCA, it's immediately you notify us. You need to give us a minimum statutorily of 7 working days notice that you want to commence your construction. And even when we want to do our stage inspection, you need to give us a minimum of 7 working days, right? Once you do that, you are good to go.
Okay, then 0809-912-0777. We're still on the program this morning, and the conversation is all about building regulations. Talk to me. Good morning.
Hello, Victor. Good morning.
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, sir, my name is Alagba Mato. I'm speaking from Ibafu.
All right, Alagba Mato, go ahead.
Yes, please, let me ask Madam two questions.
Okay.
The first question is your foot soldiers, your staff that are monitoring this building. How well do you monitor them? How well do you control them? That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, are you aware that these estates along Lekki Ajah axis, I don't want to mention the estates, that they did brothers developing houses. Are you aware that they don't dig foundations? They only fill. Once they fill the land, and about in another 2 months, they start building, start digging foundation.
In which area?
Lekki?
This Lekki Ajah, all these estates.
Okay.
Talk of Ora, talk of Shelby, talk of all these estates.
So they do not build foundations, right?
They don't dig foundations. Once they fill, they just cast. They just start casting, and that's all. And most of this, because they build to sell. They don't build to live. So they just this is what I noticed. Yeah. So that's why I said, how well do you control yourself? That's the problem. Because one of these things you can say are beautiful. They are jolly, they are good people. But then your staff need to be monitored properly. I don't know, but I don't want to accuse anybody.
Right.
Okay,
and I
don't want to be tribalistic. So please, I want to answer these questions. Please.
Thank you so much, Alagba Mato, for those questions. All right, so, Madam, that's talking about monitoring and evaluation of your people. So, how often do you do that?
So, our officers, we meet them once a month, where we talk about activities. Our so-called foot soldiers, our building inspectors,
are
actually in all the 57 local governments and LCDAs. They are trained professionals, and of course we recognize that there may be one or two that may err on
or may deviate.
Yes, but we do say that if we catch anyone, then there are
they'll face the wrath of the law, right?
Exactly.
And what about people that are building in Lekki, like you said, without foundation? Is it right?
In Lekki Aja, I think a lot of them use piles for their construction. It may appear as if they are filling without foundation, but once you have sunk your piles,
it's suitable.
Okay. So when you go to a particular area and you see somebody sand filling, and you think they're not going to dig strip foundation, then it's not going to be obvious that they are building a foundation, because a lot of them sink piles, and their property actually stands on piles.
Right.
If you are building in an area that is filled, and you just start doing a strip foundation or whatever, your building is going to sink in no time, or it's going to start tilting.
Right.
There are properties that we have identified that they have not engaged structural engineers, and they are obvious, because if you don't use the right foundation, there'll be settlement, your property will tilt, and as soon as you see a property that is tilting, you realize that person utilized the services of his bricklayer as the supervising
professional.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, then Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. A brief break. When we return, it'll be time for us to hit the finish line on the program this morning. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Like we said, we're streaming live on Facebook and on our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. All right, so we want to appreciate all of you that are putting your comments there. Isiako, Funke, and others. Thank you so much. But, madam, as we gradually wind to the end of the program this morning, let's talk about COVID-19, which is the reality that has confronted humanity right now. Let's briefly reflect on that, the impact of COVID-19 on the building profession. How has it been?
I think it's affected the building industry a lot, because a lot of the developers, they took loans from banks to do their construction and everything. But gradually, they're getting back to site, and we have reduced our contact with the general public.
Okay.
So the recent guidelines that was released by the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development actually stated all the requirements and guidelines, and in that release there were the email to contact for your stage inspection and certification, and also if you want to process your permits, the everything was actually highlighted there.
Okay, then.
On construction sites, the guidelines are also clear as to what you need to do in order to prevent contact. So part of what we have said is that for a land size of 650 square meters, we don't want you having more than 15 workers on your site. If you have more than 4 floors and above, you can apply to the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development for exceptions through the email that was actually provided.
All right, let me see if I can just sneak in one last call before we begin to wrap up things on the program. I know so many people are trying to see how they link up with you. Hello there, good morning.
Sir.
Good morning.
Comrade Daniel on the line.
All right, Comrade Daniel, quickly, let's hear from you. You have any concerns for my guest?
Yes, good morning, engineer. Yes, I have a concern about the construction of a building.
Okay.
A building that's been constructed for some time, like a 4-block of flats, or 3-bedroom each. The landlord went ahead to redesign, to reduce the flats so that they can make more money, increasing the tenant within the facility. Is this an offense? Because, you have stretched the facility there at the initial stage of the building. Just because of greed. He has reduced it to 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, and so on.
Okay, so it was originally a 3-bedroom, but now he has remodeled it.
Yes, he remodeled it so that he can make more money. Okay. 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, thereabout, and increasing all the, increasing the
tenancy.
The tenants within the same vicinity, and so on.
All right.
So, yeah.
You want to find out if that's an offense, right?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Daniel. So, does that constitute a breach?
Well, it depends. You could build you could have had 3-bedroom apartments, say 4 3-bedroom apartments. It will only be a breach if you did not apply for redevelopment permits or remodeling.
So if anyone wants to do that, he has to come back to you guys.
To LASBCA.
Okay.
Yes, submit all your drawings, redo your design, and obtain a permit. So LASBCA will tell you if it is allowable or not, because you look at the density in a property as compared to the land space that is available.
Right.
So it's if I think Comrade Daniel has any apprehension, I'll be giving our contacts.
Right, very shortly.
Very shortly. He can always inform us, and we will go there and ask for the appropriate documents that would have made that landlord
to do that. All right,
exactly.
So, Engineer Kosegbe, do you encourage whistleblowing for illegal activities?
Very much so. Even for legal, even if you have permits, anybody that is building next to you, we need to have the information.
Right.
Like I keep saying, we cannot be everywhere every day, but just let us know, and we'll just make sure. That is how we prevent. That's how we prevent building collapse.
Let's have those contacts then. I mean, for those who want to reach you to whistleblow or send any things to you.
So we have a we have huge social media presence.
Okay.
We have Facebook. That is LASBCA at LASBCA LAG. LASBCA LAG. That is Facebook.
Okay.
Twitter is at LASBCA.
Okay.
With A again. That's LASBCA agency.
Okay.
We have Instagram. That is LASBCA _ agency. AGENCY.
All right.
We have our email address. You can also contact us on that. That is LASBCA LASBCA at lagosstate.gov.ng.
All right.
We have our hotlines as well.
Quickly, let's run that.
07000527222, 0700-505-0404,
Right.
0901-051-7142.
Okay.
And you can reach me directly on 0909 888870. That is 5870. 0909.
Yeah, we have to do it at this point, right? Because
Thank
of time
you very
constraints.
much.
Madam, it's nice having you in the building.
Thank
and I'm hoping
you.
that we can get you very soon to reflect on these things once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
then.
you.
So I've been speaking with the General Manager for the Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASBCA, and our mission this morning is to try and understand the A to Z of building standards and regulations in Lagos, the LASBCA mandate. Okay, so we have to go. Thank you so much for Lashade Adiremu for producing the program. Maximum thanks equally goes to our executive producer, Tayo Akonle. And how can I forget the public, that's the Public Affairs Department of LASBCA. Thank you so much, Tayo Asagba and Badeyinka, for putting this together. All right, so till Monday when your side mirror returns, this is Victor Terry. Stay on the right side of the law and build appropriately. Bye.